Today we're going to be diving into Matthew 24, and hopefully we will do a back-to-back with Matthew 24, and then a little time after that do Matthew 25 tonight. We'll see how it goes. So let's get started, okay? I hope you guys are having a wonderful Thursday and enjoying the weather. It's August, so hopefully it's sunny weather where you're at. Okay, so we are reading from the English Standard Version today, and here we go. Verse 1. Jesus left the temple and was going away when his disciples came to point out to him the buildings of the temple. But he answered them, "You see all these, do you not? Truly I say to you, there will not be left here one stone upon another that will not be thrown down." As he sat on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately, saying, "Tell us, when will these things be? And what will be the sign of your coming and of the end of the age?" And Jesus answered them, "See that no one leads you astray. For many will come in my name, saying, 'I am the Christ,' and they will lead many astray. And you will hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you are not alarmed, for this must take place, but the end is not yet. For nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there will be famines and earthquakes in various places. All these are but the beginning of birth pains. Then they will deliver you up to tribulation and put you to death, and you will be hated by all nations for my name's sake. And then many will fall away and betray one another and hate one another, and many false prophets will rise and lead many astray. And because lawlessness will be increased, the love of many will grow cold. The end will be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom will be proclaimed throughout the whole world as a testimony to all nations. And then the end will come. So when you see the abomination of desolation spoken of by the prophet Daniel standing in the holy place, let the reader understand. Then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. Let the one who is on the housetop not go down to take what is in the house. And let the one who is in the field not turn back to take his cloak. And alas for women who are pregnant and for those who are nursing infants in those days. Pray that your flight may not be in winter or on a Sabbath, for then there will be great tribulation, such as has not been from the beginning of the world until now, no, and never will be. And if those days had not been cut short, no human would be saved. For the sake of the elect, those days will be cut short. Then if anyone says to you, 'Look, here is the Christ,' or 'There he is,' do not believe it. For false Christs and false prophets will arise and perform great signs and wonders, so as to lead astray, if possible, even the elect. See, I have told you beforehand. So if they say to you, 'Look, he is in the wilderness,' do not go out. If they say, 'Look, he is in the inner rooms,' do not believe it. For as the lightning comes from the east and the west, so will be the coming of the Son of Man. Wherever the corpse is, the vultures will gather. Immediately after those days, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light, and the stars will fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens will be shaken. Then will appear in heaven the sign of the Son of Man, and then all the tribes of the earth will mourn, and they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory, and he will send out his angels with a loud trumpet call, and they will gather his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. From the fig tree learn its lesson. As soon as its branch becomes tender and puts out its leaves, you know summer is near. So also when you see all these things, you know that he is near, at the very gates. Truly I say to you, this generation will not pass away until all these things take place. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will not pass away. But concerning that day and hour, no one knows, not even the angels of heaven, nor the Son, but the Father only. For as were the days of Noah, so will be the coming of the Son of Man. For as in those days before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day when Noah entered the ark, and they were unaware until the flood came and swept them all away. So will be the coming of the Son of Man. Then 2 men will be in the field, one will be taken and one left. 2 women will be grinding at the mill, one will be taken and one left. Therefore stay awake, for you do not know on what day your Lord is coming. But know this, that if the master of the house had known in what part of the night the thief was coming, he would have stayed awake and would not have let his house be broken into. Therefore, you also must be for the Son of Man. For the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect. Who then is faithful and wise servant? Who then is the faithful and wise servant, whom the master has set over his household to give them their food at the proper time? Blessed is that servant whom his master will find so doing when he comes. Truly I say to you, he will set him over all his possessions. But if the wicked servant says to himself, my master is delayed, and begins to beat his fellow servant, and eats and drinks the drunkards, the master of the servant will come on a day when he does not expect him, and an hour he does not know, and will cut him into pieces and put him with the hypocrites. In that place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. This is your sign. If you haven't drank water today, drink some water. It's good for you. So, there is a lot in this chapter that he is talking about. He is talking about the end. They are asking him about the end. And as I've said before, he tells us again and again to be aware. He doesn't say stay still, stay stagnant. He says people were eating and drinking and marrying and getting married and having babies and all of that. He says, do not be deceived. Look for these things and know that he is coming. But he also says, we will not know when he is coming. We will not expect it when he comes. So make yourself ready, right? At all times, be ready for his coming, because he could come today. He could come tomorrow. And that is what I get from this chapter. I get, seek him, seek him. Do not go back in the house for other things. Do not go back for things that do not bring you closer to God. Leave them behind you. And if you're not sure how you can make yourself ready for his coming, ask him. How can I prepare my heart for your coming? What, baby?
When you're done.
Okay, thank you.
So can I wrap it up?
Sure.
For you?
Thank you, baby.
No. You can have it to work.
Okay, thank you, baby. So it sounds so scary. Like he's coming and things are not going to be great. But listen, in what generation have things been great? In the Middle Ages, people were afraid because people would just come and torch their villages. And there are still places in the world that things like that happen. And there are shootings and there are bombings everywhere. So And I don't say this to scare you or to be like, oh my goodness, the world is just a disaster. I want you to look at this chapter and know that Jesus loves you so much that he wanted to prepare you for what was coming. He wants you to focus on him so that you are not going to be one of those that walks away from him. Even in the midst of the hardest circumstances, whether you see his coming back or you don't, you get to go and see him because you have left this earth. Either way, we all need to be preparing our heart to meet him face to face. And I know that all of these talks about end times and being in a place of weeping and gnashing of teeth if you don't serve him sounds really, really scary. But I want you to know that he loves you. And that is why he told you that this is coming. And honestly, this may not even apply to you because you may not get to see his return. You might not. You might not be on the earth when he returns. But still, the earth is getting worse and worse and worse with every day because we're getting closer and closer every single day to his return. But he is with us. He is with us. And I think it is just, it speaks volumes when he's like, let the housetop, this is verse 17, on the housetop not go. And as I was saying before, like, if there is something that is causing you to walk the other way from God, leave it in the house. Stay on the rooftop. Seek him. And when he's talking about, like, look, here is the Christ, or there is the Christ, and he says, don't believe them. You will know Christ because you have read the word. If you abide in him, you will know when it is him and when it is not. That is what we need to remember. I know when I read this, I'm like, oh goodness, how will I know it's you? Well, you will know because you know him. You spend time with him. Otherwise, you might get deceived and go off. Excuse me. And that's why I'm always saying it is so important to find time to sit with him every single day. I know there are people that say you don't have to read your Bible every day or sing praises or pray or whatever every day. But the more you are disciplined in those actions, the more fruit you're going to grow and the more you're going to look like him. But also we have to make sure it's not rigid and we're not being like Pharisees and just doing it because that's our routine, but doing it with a good heart attitude. Doing it to seek him out. And that is what this is about. It's about standing in that is corrupt and is getting worse with every single day, but not getting deceived because we are focusing and preparing our hearts to meet him face to face, and we are making him the center of our lives, and we are waiting with hopeful hearts that we will see him soon. Yeah. And that's really all I have to share on this chapter. What did you find interesting about this chapter? I'd love to know what your thoughts are. You can leave them in the comments below. We're gonna wrap this up, and then in just a minute I'll be back on to go through Matthew 25 with you. And yeah, so if you are not going to jump back on for Matthew 25, I hope you guys have a great rest of your evening, a good Thursday, and a happy weekend. Have a great one. This is Jesus and Jean podcast, and I'm your host, Molly G.